What's going on, everybody? Here we are, Tuesday, February 12th. Decent day on the calendar. Last night was kind of ugly. Why?
Why is it a decent day on the calendar?
If I'm being honest, and I don't like to dig into it, it's my birthday today.
Dude, I am such an asshole. Why
would you know that?
Why would you set me up for something like that? Happy birthday, man.
Thank you. I appreciate
Happy
that.
birthday. I really had no idea.
No,
I mean,
no,
not that I would.
You're right. Yeah, there's absolutely no reason for you to know that.
That just came off as the most scumbag, asshole-ish comment ever on the strategy. Why is this a good day? Well, it is a good day. Happy birthday, man. I should just sign off now.
No, we're good. We're good. There's no reason for you to know that stuff.
No, I know, but oh man. All right.
So last night was not great though. Kind of an ugly slate. Didn't really shake out the way that I was expecting.
I know. Justin Randall didn't.
I didn't have much there. It was basically everybody else. Cat, obviously not great.
That's what hurt me, man.
Yeah.
That really disappointed. I mean, what a good spot, just squandered.
It was rough. Jordan Clarkson, at least he salvaged a little bit, but ooh, baby, was that rough to start.
Yeah. DSJ hurt me.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a rough one.
And I'll keep playing him until his price, starts to reflect the opportunity. I mean, I will. The sad thing is, sometimes you waste perfectly good, great games from players, like wasted games from D'Angelo Russell, and I thought, man, what a waste.
Yeah.
Wasted Larry Nance games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Towns and Towns Smith and basically those two were the ones that hurt me the most.
Towns got me. Smith got me. Who else got me? Oh, yeah, it was a rough one.
Some knocks and Marvin Williams, but that's high 20s. That's not the reason I'm losing.
Chris Paul was fine. Clarkson killed me. Chris was fine. Levine was fine.
Yeah.
Doncic was fine. Nurk,
44 for Chris Paul at 6,900 is perfectly reasonable.
Hell yeah. No, it's just Towns, man. My second most exposed guy last night. That'll do it. Especially when Paul George is going to drop an 80 fantasy point game on you. You're not coming back from that.
Paul George is dominant.
He really is. He really is.
It's phenomenal. And I mean, this isn't to say that Paul George was not a strong play. I know we talked about him a lot on the deeper dive. I wasn't on the strategy show, so I can't say, but geez, what a phenomenal player he has become. I mean, this is easily the best season of his career, and it's not even close. And that's not even giving credit to his defense, too. Like, he's still a spectacular defender.
Yeah.
And we're just sitting here talking about his offensive skill set right now.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for Chris Paul's injury, I think you can make a really realistic case that Paul George has an MVP opportunity at the end of the year.
Totally agree.
I don't think that he can get to it now because of that and because of the way that Harden's been working, and defense is going to pretty naturally get lost in the shuffle, generally speaking.
Yeah, especially when there's a defensive award that gets handed out.
Yeah, but if that Chris Paul injury doesn't happen the way that it does, and Harden doesn't break the league, I think we could have a really realistic discussion about how Paul George is the best player in the NBA right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would say deserving of the MVP, but not bad.
I don't mean it like he's my first pick in a draft of players, right? Or anything. Yeah.
But have like an argument that Paul George is having the best season in the NBA right now. I could definitely get on board with that. Obviously, that would have been barring a Chris Paul injury.
Yeah, and it's weird how that works because I don't necessarily think it's changed anything about Harden. He did strap the team to his back, but like that's exactly what I would have expected him to do as well. It just went well from a results output.
Other things too, like if if the Sixers never draft or if they never traded for Harris and Butler and it was just Embiid and Simmons, you could be seeing Simmons with a lot more or a lot more often in the conversation. If
Yeah, same for Embiid.
that's what I meant. I'm sorry. I meant Joel Embiid. Did I say Simmons?
You did, but
Yeah.
you're not wrong with that one either.
Right. Yeah. I mean, imagine Joel Embiid. Well, actually, we don't have to imagine it. Remember him before Butler came along? Like he was firmly in the conversation.
Oh yeah.
So it's definitely it's all contingent upon, who you grab at the deadline, who gets hurt, who doesn't. But nevertheless, Paul George, just one of those seasons where you look at him and say, well, the shooting isn't sustainable. You keep saying that and he keeps doing it. You're like, you know what? Maybe this is just his year.
I'm really anxious to see how he looks in the playoffs now. Is this a regular season thing, or is Paul George really taking a leap?
Yeah, he's got 43 or more points in 3 games of 6 February games. Like here are his his scoring totals, right? Since the 19th of January. 31, 31, 36, 23, 36, 37, 43, 37, 39, 27, 45, 47. What?
He's just
I mean,
he's going
stop
insane.
it.
He's going
Yeah.
insane and doing it as, I don't know, maybe the best perimeter defender in the league.
I mean, one of,
Yeah.
if he's not the best, he's right behind Kawhi, right behind, maybe he's up there. He's top 3.
Oh God, it's just crazy. Like he's shooting so much now. And I mean, last 7 games, 13, 14, 13, 15, 16, 16. Those are 3-point attempts.
Yep. And look at his free throw attempts since the start of February.
11, 18, 16, 12. I mean, he's either getting to the rack or shooting a 3.
Yep.
And you're seeing exactly what happens when you try to maximize your game to the data.
Yeah. And I tweeted this yesterday that, every day he's dispelling the myth that that good players can't excel alongside Westbrook.
I didn't
Because
realize they were winning so much. Oh my God. Sorry, keep going.
oh yeah, they're winning a lot. They're winning a lot. But there's been this notion that ever since Oladipo came around, and since Kevin Durant left, that you can't really put a decent player around Russell Westbrook and have him get better. Well, Paul George has dispelled that. Actually, it's the best season of his career.
Yeah.
So I really do think what you were seeing from Paul George shines a different light on Russell Westbrook as well. I'm not saying Russell Westbrook is owed credit for this. What I'm saying is maybe it's time that we stop talking so much shit on Russell Westbrook because of who plays around him. But yeah, George, 34% usage rate since the start of February, 1.68 fantasy points per minute, 21% assist rate, which is also pretty encouraging, 11% rebounding. And he leads the league in steals per game, if I forgot to say that.
Yeah, they've won 11 of 12. Their only loss is a 5-point loss at Boston. There's no shame in that shit,
Nope.
Should we be giving Billy Donovan more credit?
Maybe, I guess. Like he's got a pretty good team.
Sure,
Why
but like
not?
I feel like
I
if you
guess
see
he
Paul George
deserves.
take this leap on the Raptors, or if Blake Griffin takes this sort of leap on the Pistons, I think that we see someone say like, "Oh, well, I think Nick Nurse had a lot to do with that," or "I think Dwayne Casey had a lot to
Oh,
do with that."
definitely. Oh yeah, you
But I feel like
definitely
no
see
one
coaches
even
some credit.
mentions the name Billy Donovan when it comes to anything here.
Yeah, fair statement.
And like think about some of the they're without arguably the better perimeter defender, Roberson. They're patchwork together with, a bunch of shooting guards that nobody gives a shit about. They turned Jeremy Grant into a really nice piece. Nerlens Noel on a minimum contract as a backup center has been fantastic.
Yep.
they're not as good as you would think, or at least they're not as good as you would have thought they would have been 2 years ago with these
It's
guys on
true.
their court
Yeah.
on the court.
And Schroeder is his
A
play
Hawks
is as
cast
spotty as
off?
ever. Right. Uh, it so the big thing too is Andre Roberson is one of the most underappreciated players in the entire league, and I'm serious when I
Mhm.
say that. Not as a scorer, he can't score. But last year when he was on the floor, they had a top 3 defense. When he was off the floor, they had a bottom 5 defense. That is a drastic change. We saw plenty of opportunity with and without him. The sample was big enough. Roberson's impact defensively on that side of the floor is massive. And I think Donovan has done a good job of finding who needs to fill that gap. And Terrence Ferguson's been the guy. And as a stopgap, as a band-aid, he's done a good enough job for sure. So yeah, credit some to Billy Donovan. But when you have defensive anchors like Steven Adams and Paul George, right? We haven't even talked about Adams.
Yeah.
When you have guys like him and then Westbrook, um, the this team has enough. They have like three players in Westbrook, George, and Adams that in one area or more are elite. Like Adams, in my opinion, is an elite defender. He makes things really difficult around the rim.
Yeah.
And then you have guys just when you have role players like Grant and Schroeder and Ferguson, this is a good basketball team.
They're fantastic. I don't know what else to say at this point. Paul George is just on another level right now. 36 minutes a game, 29% usage. You know, 123.8 points scored per shot attempt. That's 94th percentile in cleaning the glass. He's doing everything as much as possible in an efficient way. It's really crazy. Shooting 42.5% from 3.
Yep.
Good for you, Paul George. Good for you.
Yep. Also, a guy that came off, and we'll get started right here, but
yeah,
a devastating injury
yeah,
not too long ago. So don't forget about that.
Yeah, hyper disgusting leg break.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes me feel better about the prospects of Gordon Hayward 3 years from now.
Not me.
There you go.
No, I mean, he could be fine.
All right, let's get the plugs in. NBA Strategy is the promo code. 50% off your first month with us. Any monthly package you choose, you get 50% off. If you're trying to buy an annual subscription, that plug or that promo code won't work, but we're really happy that you want to join us for a year. And then we've got the anniversary coming up. If you like this video and comment afterwards when the video is over, and we'll figure out what we want you guys to comment as we go. Something'll tickle our fancy. If you like the video and comment, you have the opportunity to win a premium all-access annual subscription for us, like a $700 value, and you don't have to do anything. Totally free. We're celebrating our 1-year anniversary as a site, and that is the giveaway that we're running. So I highly recommend liking and commenting. You join us for 365 days. We could have this discussion next year for the giveaway for the 2-year. That's when it'll expire. And also, shout out to Thrive just because. 5-gamer here. Good games, too. At least 2 good games.
Like
Sixers, Celtics, Warriors, Jazz. That's good basketball.
It is. Man, I'll tell you, the Sixers, since gaining Tobias Harris, I think that trade is going to be more impactful than I could have ever imagined. And I'm serious. He
looks good.
The way he makes that team look, the way he spaces the floor and gives them that necessary 3-point threat to close out games, big difference. Like huge difference. It's really crazy. The amount of how different they look in just the amount of 2 games, the course of 2 games, without really having time to play with each other. Really big difference.
I'm going to ask you a question. I think I know the answer. If you could hit the reset button on the Butler trade right now, would you do it?
Nah.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't, because
I've
said it a million times. I'd still rather Joel, and I know we got to get to these games, but Joel Embiid does not have a big enough window to put Covington and Saric around him in the starting lineup and expect to have anything work. The starting lineup that they have now, is arguably the second best starting five behind the Warriors. And if you just take the starting five, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you could argue that. I think I really do. Do you not think so?
I mean, argue it? Yeah, sure.
Like if you were to take all five and say, okay, you have Simmons, you have Redick, you have Butler, you have Harris, and you have Joel Embiid.
They wouldn't be my first pick, but they're certainly fantastic.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to spend time trying to argue.
No. I mean, if you want to pitch the Raptors or the Bucks in this scenario, I'm not in any position to argue, and I don't think that I would argue about the Sixers either.
Right. Okay. So that's what. Right. So you take that. The size of Joel Embiid, I don't buy into the injury history nonsense because he hasn't dealt with any of that since they got it taken care of. Like the foot and everything.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
But he only has.
I'm worried about it, but I'm not it's not a thing.
No, it's not dire. Yeah, he only has such a limited window, and that's with any significant like with Anthony Davis. You're just gonna keep wasting him away in New Orleans, and I think he realized that was happening. So the fact that Elton Brand says, you know what, we just have to try to win now. We just have to go for it. These are the pieces that we have. Who knows if we'll have Ben Simmons after his rookie deal? We know we'll have Embiid because he loves it. He said, "This is my city" the other day. I will never go anywhere. But point I'm making is that what they've done. At first, I'm like, and then you realize, well, you know what? If you don't make moves now, you're going to end up just like the Pelicans, or you're going to end up just like the Oklahoma City Thunder when it was KD and Westbrook that didn't make enough moves to get there and squandered having some of the best players in the league at the same time. So that's where I'm at. I'm okay with it, and I really like how they look.
Yeah, they've been great. This is going to be a really fun test tonight against Boston. No Kyrie though, kind of dampens it, but. Not like there's still not a ton of talent.
Was really hoping he'd be playing, but nope. He went out in the middle of the game, in the middle of all my lineups.
You ready to tackle this slate?
Let's do it, brother.
Alrighty. First game up at 7:30. So remember, Deeper Dive starts at 5:30 tonight. Live Before Lock starts at 6:30 tonight. We're a half hour later, and I love when this happens. But
beautiful thing.
Atlanta Hawks hosting the Los Angeles Lakers, 115.25 implied total for the Hawks, 120.25 for the Lake Show. Massive pace game. Neither team is any good defensively. This is going to be a fantasy bonanza. So for all the people that were in chat at the start thinking these guys are going to recommend LeBron James and Kyle Kuzma, they're trying to get everybody off the scent. Yeah, these guys look fantastic because both teams are bad at defense, and this game should be a track meet. I love it.
I had such a solid setup for that. If you didn't bring it up, it's of no use now. But I was definitely gonna run with that. Listen, the game does have a 236 total. Yes. Both teams do play at a top 5 pace. Yes. One team has one of the worst defensive ratings in the league. They rank 28th in basketball. Yes. One team also allows the most points per game this season. Yes. One team is allowing one of the highest 3-point percentages in the league. Yeah, that's right too. 1 point is allowing the most assists in the league. One team is also allowing the most steals per game in the league. So I think you can see where I'm going here. By the way,
you hate this game?
I'm referring to the Hawks. Oh, one team is allowing the most free throw attempts. Did I forget about that one? Maybe I did. That is how bad the Hawks are, and that is how favorable of a team they are for opposing offenses. So to act like we're trying to pull the wool over your eyes by recommending Lakers is a silly argument that has no foundation and would 100% deteriorate under even the slightest bit of pressure. Yeah. So yeah, LeBron James at $10,500. I hate to say I have some interest. Forgive me. With Kyle Kuzma at $6K, overpriced. I don't see that being overpriced against the fastest paced team in the league that is literally dead last in almost every defensive metric. No, I don't have an issue with that. Also, a guy in Kuzma whose shot volume has been up lately, which is very encouraging. And if I were to look at a Rajon Rondo who is what $5,900, then yes, maybe I have some interest. But we
Ooh,
can
you
talk
like
about that.
Rondo?
We can talk about we'll talk about it we'll talk about it in a second.
Okay.
That's why I said maybe. We'll get into that in a second.
Okay.
Point being that there are a lot of different places you can go here.
There are.
And
it's not just the Lakers side either.
No. Well, but in chat, they were mostly talking about the
were.
Lakers. Yeah. So this to me is a very interesting spot, and it'll be chalk. But what are you going to do in some of these spots? Honestly,
right? Yeah, you need to rotate through these dudes. I like John Collins. I like Trae Young. I like Dedmon, Kevin Huerter, Prince. Bazemore getting a ton of love. I don't know if he sees extra minutes in this spot because of Braun. DeAndre Bembry getting love on FanDuel at the flat minimum. I get using him as a punt in this sort of game. No Jeremy Lin. Keep that in mind. Making his way to the great north of Toronto.
And Hart's out until after the All-Star break as well.
Yep. So what do you like from the Atlanta side most?
Atlanta side. Well, I think it's important to reference here that this Lakers team is, by the way, no team allows more field goal attempts per game than the Lakers. And I say that because while they've done a decent job this season of limiting efficiency, right? Like they're allowing a bottom 7 shooting and more attempts than anyone in the league. So that balances itself out. So long as you're going to get, enough opportunities, then you keep on running them out there. And we've seen that. Like, what was the score of the Sixers game? 143 to 120 in regulation. 263 points in regulation. Pretty solid there. So looking at Atlanta, Trae Young at 6,700.
Yep.
I have no issue with it, but the one thing is Lloyd Pierce, man. I wish we had a little bit of consistency with the playing time, right? It would really be nice. Now, Jeremy Lin, as you pointed out, no longer with the team. Somebody like Jalen Adams is questionable for this game. So, and you may ask, would that matter? Well, I don't know. With Jeremy Lin being there, or being gone, it could, because they really don't have point guard depth here. Like who usually Lloyd Pierce likes to run a lot of guys out there. But look at this. Look at their active roster right now. They literally don't. And if you can find one, please. Maybe I'm missing it. But outside of Jalen Adams, who might not play, they don't have another backup point guard on the roster.
To my knowledge, they do not.
Right.
When I was trying to enter the minutes, I was like, I don't know who to give the rest of these point guard minutes to.
Maybe they'll bring someone up from the G League and get him active for tonight.
Do they have anybody? Do you know?
Well, I'm sure,
I don't know who they have on two ways. Atlanta Hawks 2-way. Jalen Adams.
And by the way, the reason I mentioned Rondo is because I'm not convinced that Rondo's not going to start in this game. Like, well, think about it, dude. You don't think it's realistic to say it could have been a one-game move going up against Ben Simmons at point guard and starting Brandon Ingram there? I mean, that's the most logical thing you could think.
I am nervous. I gave Rondo only 22 minutes here.
That's fine. But I'm saying, if there was ever if this was against the Knicks and Rondo went to the bench, I'd be like, okay, this seems more permanent. But it just seems reasonable to say, okay, Brandon Ingram starting at the point against Ben Simmons. That, to me, like it totally seems like a move where you would make your front court bigger to go up against that jumbo front court in Detroit, and then switch it back the next day.
I think that makes sense. I think that they looked at this team and thought, if we don't get some shooting on this floor constantly, we're going to die and not make the playoffs.
That's also very possible.
Yeah.
But I also
We'll
think
find
it's
out.
possible. Yeah.
We'll
Right.
know
I
today.
also think it's very possible that they also looked at the Sixers and said, if we stick Rondo out there, things could get ugly quickly, given what the rest of this lineup looks like. Because, I mean, my God, you're not putting yourself in a favorable position. Like you would have had Rondo, and then would have Bullock out there, who defensively is fine. Walton's clearly trying to do something there. Look, that was a big lineup they started, though, in at least at the guard and wing positions. They had Ingram, Bullock, Kuzma, James, and McGee. Yeah, so just
Those are the
all I'm
5
saying,
guys I love on the Lakers tonight.
yeah, I mean that. Well, I don't loving Reggie Bullock is tough.
3,400.
I mean, you pretty much you're kind of almost forced to, but
Yeah.
I just never love Reggie Bullock.
Oh no, I
Because
think he sucks. But
right, but at that, yeah, at that price,
yeah.
it's look, basically, yes, Scoops. I shit on Josh's birthday, and I felt bad about it. But what I'm saying is keep an eye out to see if we get any word. Fortunately, the first game's at 7:30, and this game's at 8:00. I would not be shocked to see Rondo back in the starting lineup. And if that's the case, I would definitely downgrade Bullock and upgrade Rondo, because Rondo is down to 5,900. Bullock's super cheap. Either way, you're going to get some value out of it.
This game is going to make or break everybody. You got to make sure, like, getting the right pieces together is going to be the key.
Oh, for sure.
I'm relatively neutral on Collins, relatively neutral on Trae Young, at least on DK. Not as much of him on FanDuel. Lots of Deadman on FanDuel, which I'm not really comfortable about. Their center rotation has been kind of murky. Whether it's Len or Deadman or Spellman. And I'll have some Prince. It's just, both teams, massive pace, no defense. I want to have a lot of bites at the apple here. And I'm going to rotate through. It should stay relatively close. It's only a 5-point game, nothing crazy in Atlanta.
By the way, we had a good question from CLA. He said, Lavi, didn't LeBron, quote unquote, guard Simmons? Yeah, that wasn't the point I was making. It was the lineup in general. It's a perfectly fine question. I'm saying the lineup in general, Rondo does not fit against that Simmons, Redick, Butler, Harris, Embiid lineup. Like what they did with Ingram and Bullock makes a lot more sense from a defensive standpoint. That's what I was trying to say. But no, yeah, it's a reasonable question.
Yeah. Is there anybody? So we have Bazemore 18% on DK. Do you think that he gets extra run today?
I think that if you're looking at 16 to 20 minutes and you're getting Bazemore at 18 to 20%, you can do better. It's to me, it's not much more difficult than that. Like,
yeah.
Does he get more run? It's possible. All right, so let's do this. Why don't we do this? It's probably important. Let's break down, who we have here. You were going over the minutes a second ago. You have Trae Young.
Yep.
I don't know if Adams plays, but if he does, I'm not giving him more than 12 minutes. Maybe actually that
I gave him 10.
Maybe he gets 10, 12, maybe 15. It's tough to say. And then you have Huerter, Bazemore. Maybe 25 from Bazemore, but Huerter's probably going to play 32. So, and they have enough threes, right? You have Prince, you have Bembry. Are you going to give Vince Carter some run? Probably. Is Justin Anderson going to see 5 minutes? Probably. So it's not like Bazemore is going to be soaking up minutes at the 3. So no, do I expect to see a lot more minutes from him? Unless he's running backup point, probably not. It would be more likely that he just sees a lot of backup minutes at the 2, unless you see it differently.
No, I'm with you. I don't see it. I mean, Sean V's advocating because the Hawks always defend LeBron with Kent Bazemore that they're going to do that today. I'm not sure why that matters. I don't think that it matters that when they had Paul Millsap and Al Horford that they guarded him with Kent Bazemore. But
Yeah, it's. I mean, maybe, but
the different coach.
Right, and it's an entirely different team around
Yeah.
LeBron as well.
Everybody's
Right.
on a different team now. The coach,
right, and you're right.
half the team,
it's not,
LeBron.
and it's not Budenholzer. You're right.
Yeah.
Like Taurean Prince is not having a good season, but he is not a bad defender. Like he's long, he's athletic. It's not crazy to say, okay, we'll just stick Prince on him. Right? Yeah. No,
They also don't want to win. It's not
Yeah,
in their best
that
interest to be
matters too.
successful.
That matters too.
This is in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference semifinals here.
Right.
This is Hawks Lakers on a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't get the sense that they're going to play Kent Bazemore 34 minutes to match LeBron.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so either. Bazemore, I'd say if he gets to 20 minutes, it's because he plays in the fourth quarter. Like last game, he comes in with like 3 or 4 minutes left in the first, plays with till like 7 minutes or 5.5 minutes are gone in the second. Then he enters. Lloyd Pierce hockey line changed them in the second half, so I don't expect that to necessarily be the case again after 4 minutes and 22 seconds. The Magic pulled away early, just ran away, and then Bazemore comes in with about 4.5 minutes gone, and then he comes out after the third and does not return to that game. So maybe you get 20 minutes from him here, but
that's what I
wouldn't hold my breath. Yeah, that's about as much as I would expect. Now, again, you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he ran an 11-man rotation. Today's is going to be condensed. I don't see any way it's not to some extent. He's still got some wings and some bigs, but without Lin, unless Adams is there, the backcourt's going to be shrunken, and I think that has to bode well for Trae Young because Jeremy Lin played 22 minutes last game, closed the game out. Granted, it was a blowout, so Trae Young would have probably seen more minutes there. I have no problem getting Trae Young, and I'm curious to know where you have him, but I have no problem getting Trae Young back up to, say, 32 minutes again here. I have him at 31, but
I have him at 29 right now. Just because he hasn't been playing additional minutes. I want to see news about Adams first. If Adams is in and available, then I don't get the sense that they're just going to play Trae Young 36 minutes because they have this emptiness with Lin behind him. I think that I could probably get to like 30, 31. I just don't know if like that's where they're at right now.
Yeah.
Outside of Kevin Huerter playing tons of minutes constantly. Trae Young got 34 and 37 right to start off February, and now it's starting to feel like they're smushing everybody together again.
Well, hold on. If you have Young at 29, we have him 28 or 29?
29.
And Adams at 10.
Yeah.
Where are the other point guard minutes going?
Some from Bays, probably. They let DeAndre Bembry handle the ball from time to time. I just don't. I don't think they're set up to like deal with it right now. Honestly.
Okay. Because the reason I asked that is because if you look at how this rotation has worked, Trae Young, like Jeremy Lin has been on the floor whenever Trae Young hasn't been.
Yes.
So, at least in my opinion, oh, excuse me.
There it is.
Happy birthday. If it's not Trae Young, then I will be giving those minutes to Adams, which is why I feel a little bit more comfortable giving Trae Young a few additional minutes because the likelihood of him playing 31 or 32, I can't say, I think it's unlikely that he plays that many minutes, but I do think it's likely that Adams comes in and plays 21 minutes off the bench or 20 minutes off the bench. So I feel more comfortable giving those minutes to Young. I do think that at all times it's either going to be Trae Young or Adams on the court. That's where I'm at on this.
I would lean that way. It wouldn't shock me if that's not the case because I just don't know how much it's going to end up mattering.
Yeah, it's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
To me, it's just that Pierce has done that. Unless I'm missing something, seemingly every game he's had, one true point guard on the floor.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see how that changes now with Lin gone, because obviously leaning on Lin as a backup point guard is one of the easiest things to do in the world as a coach. I'm going to sneeze.
Yep.
Whew. Got the mute on like a pro.
Look at that. Look at that.
If
Jalen Adams doesn't play, by the way,
Trae Young's got to play like 36 minutes.
Unless they bring somebody up. Yeah.
I don't think they have anybody. I think they're two-way contracts for Jalen Adams and Alex Poitras.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
You would know better than I do. You're better with knowing those, like, the contracts and everything. That's not my strong suit.
That's what they have right now on 2 ways in 10 days.
Like, I would undoubtedly give him 33 minutes in that spot. And then you get to talking about, somebody may laugh and be like, are you seriously going to upgrade Bazemore? Well, I would, because where else are you going to, like, I would give Bazemore more minutes in that case, because I don't know where else they would go.
Right.
I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I just want to read this off to you. Their roster right now, and for you guys watching, like, we got to pay attention to this throughout the day, because maybe there's something we don't know about. But their roster right now, let's assume Adams doesn't play, is Justin Anderson, Kent Bazemore, DeAndre Bembry, Vince Carter, John Collins. So
Vince.
Yeah, right. Forward, 2 guard, small forward, power forward. Dedmon, Huerter. So there's one more guard. Len, Plumlee's hurt. Poitras, Prince. So forward or forward, center forward. Spellman, forward, center. Trae Young. They have no guards.
Nope.
They have no guards.
And confirmed that it's Adams and Poitras are on the 2-way contracts for the Hawks.
All right. Nice work. So there you have it.
Yeah.
Could be Bembry, could be Bazemore, but someone's going to need to do it.
All right. So I think that we would agree that there are 5 good plays for the Hawks, or at least 5 potential plays for the Hawks.
Yeah. Trae Young, as of now, being one of my favorites, but I think there are. So, okay, let's do this, because we tend to, I'm guilty, tend to spend a lot of time on things where we don't need to, even though
we're at 40 minutes.
I know, even though I think we needed to on this.
Yeah, this game's different.
Who are your favorite plays, prioritized plays from the Hawks?
I like Dedmon probably more than most people will, although
You have him at 27 minutes, 26 minutes?
26. Yeah, he's at 29% ownership too, which is kind of scary. I like him a little bit more on FanDuel, where he's not getting as much love. But I'd probably go something like, if we're talking on FanDuel, I'd say Dedmon, Collins, Young, Prince, Huerter, and then I would go Dedmon, Prince, Young, Huerter, Collins on DK.
All right. Fair enough.
Does Dedmon still have power forward eligibility?
On DraftKings?
Yeah.
He does,
Okay.
and that's very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had a question where is it? From Jay Kelly saying, does Huerter get lost in the shuffle at 5,600? I'm assuming he's talking about FanDuel. Not sure what to do with him. Maybe more minutes and a pace up spot. Upside is my worry. I mean, he's fine. It's Kevin Huerter. The big thing I say with these guys all the time is he needs to knock down shots. Although I will say that assist-wise, Kevin Huerter has been better than most players on this team. It's funny. He's got 4 or more assists in all but like 3 of his last 10 games, Josh, which is kind of impressive. And now you don't have Jeremy Lin, and you lack any type of relevant ball handling outside of Trae Young. And in close games, it's pretty much a certainty that that Kevin Huerter is going to play 30 plus minutes. So no, I don't think he's crazy.
No.
I mean, I like 4,800 on DraftKings, but no, I don't think it's insane at all on this slate. No.
Yeah, I don't love him as much on FanDuel. We have him at 13% expected ownership. I would probably come in like that 13 to 18 range. I think that's fine.
Perfectly fine. Yeah. On DraftKings, we have Kevin Huerter right now coming in at 19%, which on a 5-game slate seems reasonable.
Yeah, I'll probably be over that number if it stays there.
But just so we can move on, who are your top plays in order from the Lakers?
Yeah. From a FanDuel side, LeBron and Ingram are very much ahead of everybody else. And then probably Kuzma, then JaVale. And then I'd like the idea of using maybe like KCP as a drop on FanDuel. For DraftKings, it's a little bit more bunched up. Probably Ingram, then Braun, Kuzma, Bullock, JaVale.
I mean, if Bullock starts, he's going to be one of my top ones. And
I have him in for 30 minutes right now. Like it's he's just really hard to get away from at that price if he's playing 30 minutes, especially in this spot.
Yeah, well, exactly, especially in this spot. Yeah, you're damn right. Like 46 on FanDuel even isn't insane. So if you're getting him at 34 on DraftKings, that is you cannot get away from that even if you want to. But I would stress to pay attention to the starting lineup, and for a few reasons. Keep this in mind: if Ingram starts at the point, then he's a better play, no question. Not only are you likely to see a bunch of Trae Young defense, but you would also, and that might not be the case, right? Maybe they stick like Kevin Huerter on him, but still.
None of it matters, man. They're just bad on D.
Right. None of it matters. Although, what I'm saying, the Hawks' front court defense is significantly better than their backcourt defense. Doesn't mean it's good. Right. And I'm not saying Ingram be starting at center, obviously. Yeah. But if he starts at the point, that is an upgrade. No question.
Yep.
If this starting lineup reverts back to what it was and Rondo starts, I will go back to giving Rondo 30-some minutes because then it would tell me that it was a matchup-based move from Luke Walton. So those are things that I'll be paying close attention to, and I think we need to monitor that throughout the day. I also like McGee because from an upside standpoint, on a per-minute basis, you don't get much better than this at that price point.
No, especially now with their center rotation being trimmed down.
Exactly.
His minutes are a little bit firmer. I've got him in for 24 right now. That could easily go to 26, 28, depending on the day.
No question. Oh,
it could drop too.
Yeah.
Mike Muscala could be the center for 24 minutes today, and it wouldn't totally shock me.
We also had a comment. I might punt Len in a lineup or two. Call me crazy. No, I actually think I'm actually glad that you brought that up. On a 5-game slate, if Len gets 20, 22 minutes, there's a distinct possibility that at $3,500 on DraftKings, he could be a perfectly reasonable play. He's done it many times in the past. So big risk, no doubt about it. But in a game that's going to have massive ownership, Len is going to be, pretty much unowned. And he only needs 20 minutes. But obviously, tournaments only low exposure to something like that.
I think we've covered Hawks Lakers at this point.
You think? I think we got there, yeah.
Alrighty. Moving on. This is a tale of two games. We go from a game with a total of 235.5 to a game with a total of 208.
Ugh.
The Memphis Grizzlies hosting the San Antonio Spurs. 102 implied total for the Grizz, 106 for the Spurs. We'll start on the Memphis side. And I think we need to start here. I had a lot of trouble doing the rotation here because of Jonas Valanciunas.
Yep.
So let's start here. How many minutes do you think Jonas Valanciunas plays?
I don't know, but what I do know is I could not believe his expected ownership prior to being ruled out. Like, I was so happy to see, like, he was at like 44%.
It's a little different today.
And all I could think was, my God, if Joe Val is going to be that, and I'm a huge Jonas Valanciunas guy from a fantasy standpoint. Huge. Because he produces, and he always produces if you just give him the minutes. But at that, not knowing if he's going to play or how many minutes he's going to play when he does play, insane. But now you're right. 5% on DraftKings, less than 1% on FanDuel right now. This is where I would have interest in Valanciunas, right?
What?
This is where I would be interested in, paying $4,200 for Joval. We'll wait and see, what his status is here.
I put him in for 24 minutes. Is that outlandish?
So here's my thing on this, which I do think is important. Joval, it's not like he was playing for Toronto before the trade. No, as a matter of fact, he was expected to return to the rotation the day he was traded.
Yeah.
Right? So he hasn't played in 2 calendar months today. His last game was December 12th. So he hasn't played in 2 full months. How much does that affect the guy that, played more than 25 minutes like 3 times on the entire year? I don't know. But at 4,200, say I did get 24 minutes from Joval, then we're having a totally different discussion because this guy on DraftKings, 1.37 fantasy points per minute.
If he plays, if I have him in for 24 minutes, I'm going to end up with like 50% of him.
Right. The problem is that is such a, it's entirely unknown, especially given that JB Bickerstaff has had no quarrels with playing Ivan Rabb big minutes in the starting lineup. He doesn't care. He will do it. And Joakim Noah played 30 minutes last game.
That was my next thing. What the hell do we do with all of these guys? We've got Jaren Jackson. We've got Ivan Rabb. Now we have Joval, and we have Noah apparently able to play 30 minutes.
Yep.
I didn't give any minutes to Joakim Noah here. He could play 20, and it wouldn't shock me. I would expect them to not cut the minutes of Jaren Jackson and Ivan Rabb. Those would be the 2 guys that I think they would try to prioritize. I don't have any confidence in that.
In case you didn't know, Jaren Jackson got in early foul trouble last game.
Oh my God.
Strange, I know.
Who could have seen that coming?
I was as shocked as you were, Josh. But you just, life moves forward. 3.5 minutes, boom, foul, out. Noah comes in and plays an 8.5 minute stretch in the first quarter and then plays 3.5 minutes into the second. So he plays 12 straight minutes. Jaren Jackson returns for 5.5 minutes and is replaced by Joakim Noah. So Noah played in the first half, played 15 minutes. And then in the second half, played 6.5 minutes in the third, 6 straight in the fourth, heading into the fourth. So you got another around 13 minutes there, and then 2 stints of 1.5 minutes and 1 minute. So you see here that Noah, not only did Noah get significant minutes, but Noah got significant minutes alongside Ivan Rabb. And that is to me what's interesting. They played 1, 2, 3, 4. They played almost 9 minutes along. Oh, no, way more than that. I'm sorry, Josh. Ivan Rabb and Joakim Noah played probably 20 some minutes next to each other in this game.
Insanity. What year is this?
I know.
So do you think no? Okay. So we need to work through this from
18 minutes together. Sorry.
Okay. What do you think we get out of Jonas today?
I don't know.
I just dropped him to 20.
I'm serious. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know. Okay. I have zero idea because I don't know what's going to happen with Noah. Joval didn't even participate in shoot around or practice because he was waiting for his immigration paperwork to be approved.
Yeah.
I don't know. And if I said I did, I'd be lying to you because you still have Ivan Rabb and you still have Noah, who played 30 minutes last game, but played over half of his minutes, like 2/3 of his minutes alongside Ivan Rabb. Now, yes, a lot of that had to do, or at least early on, with Jaren Jackson foul trouble. But what about in the second half where, and like in the second half where Noah and Ivan Rabb still played a 4-minute stretch alongside each other? Bickerstaff's clearly not afraid to do that. He's not afraid to use Rabb wherever. And now with Joval, I wish I knew, but 24 minutes to me seems like a stretch.
Yeah,
That's all I can
I
say.
walked him back to 20. That might even, I might even want to go back a little bit further than that.
The thing is,
but I think that those
don't
minutes are
know.
just going to go to Noah, and none of it really matters. So it's basically just how many minutes am I going to get Jonas to see if I play him? Because I don't think it's opening up anything for anybody else. I don't
agree with
expect
that.
big minutes for Ivan Rabb anymore. There's just too many bodies now.
Right. And it's not like Noah and Joval are going to play alongside each other. So the big thing, imagine that. You imagine a front court, a Joakim Noah and Jonas Valanciunas front
I'm
court.
sure they'll do it because why not?
Because it's the Grizzlies, and they've gone against the grain forever now. How's that worked out for him? By the way, the fact that you didn't unload Mike Conley because you want him as a mentor for your young players, what an idiotic decision to make. Like, you've already waited too long to unload Gasol, and you got peanuts for him, and now you're stuck with Mike Conley, who is playing really good basketball, but pointless basketball because they have nothing to play. The way that this went from a team that was like one of the best in the league for a long stretch, not a true contender, but a really good team with a terrifying defense and two foundational pieces, to a team that now is just spinning its wheels and moving backwards. So not spinning its wheels, just moving backwards.
Where do you think Conley plays next year?
Your guess is as good as mine. But the demands for Mike Conley would have been a lot higher on Thursday than it will be during the summer.
You would think.
I can say that with almost near certainty.
Now we'll see who strikes out in free agency.
Yes, we will. Where are you going with the rest of the Grizz?
I'll have a little bit of Conley, a little bit of Jackson, but ultimately, I really don't want any part of this game. Ivan Rabb's okay, but to prioritize anything from the Memphis Grizzlies in this spot is a fool's errand.
An exercise in futility, Josh. I think Jaren Jackson's always fine in tournaments, just because when he's not 38 minutes, 34 minutes in two prior games, it's not crazy. But nobody a priority here. I'll tell you, I got away from Ivan Rabb last game, obviously knowing that we were staring down the barrel of ultra chalk, and that shouldn't be the case today, obviously, because we'll see what happens with Joval, but I will say this much: if Joval doesn't play, would you be interested in Joakim Noah? Yes or no?
No. Define interested.
Well, I'd say number one, he's not playing 30 minutes.
Yeah. Would I have some in 150? Sure. If I played a 20 max, I might get to one.
Okay.
I'd be more interested in slow-mo at 3,900 if he plays.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say about this is the second half rotation for Noah was really, really interesting because he came in only 5.5 minutes into the second half and played literally halfway through the fourth quarter. So, we saw almost 13 minutes of run, and then he came back in. But assume it's just 13 minutes. If that's his first and second half rotation, subbing in for Rob, playing alongside Jaren Jackson, and Rob's minutes go down, which that would not surprise me at all, then you get about 26 minutes from Noah at a really discounted price point. If I'm going crazy and I'm looking somewhere, I'm really not opposed to getting, limited exposure to Noah, assuming Jovel's out and hoping he can play 25, 26 minutes. Because I don't think it's crazy to assume that's possible. But we'll see. Because he might not play at all.
Right.
He might not play at all.
Yeah. Joakim Noah can play anywhere between 0 and 30 minutes today.
Exactly.
Can't get that kind of analysis anywhere, folks.
Yeah, so don't get carried away.
Yeah, just don't have this game. Let's go to San Antonio.
Let's do
it. Pace down spot. Second lowest implied total of any team on the slate behind just the Grizzlies. So there's that. Aldridge, 8,200 on FanDuel, 77 on DK. DeRozan, 8,100 on FanDuel, 7,300 on DK. I greatly prefer LaMarcus Aldridge here. And of anything in this game, Aldridge is the piece that I want the most.
Okay. Yeah, fine with me.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't have much to say here. You're getting him at $7,700 on DraftKings, 82 on FanDuel. Perfectly reasonably priced player, has played really well since the start of the new year. Kind of turned the clocks back after a tough start to the season. Is rebounding well, has been efficient scoring, is getting to the line. LaMarcus Aldridge is playing well, and there's no reason not to like him here. And I'll throw out, if you're desperate for value, this is not somebody I like at all. Davis Bertans is going to play, if it's close, another 30-plus minutes with Derek White out. I don't like it whatsoever, but I do have him projected right now for 30 minutes, and I guess you could do worse at that price point because in the event that it's competitive, I expect him to get minutes. And I was surprised that they're only 4-point favorites in this game. So, yeah.
Wait, who did you just say that you liked?
I didn't say I like him. I said if you're desperate for value, Bertans is going to play like 30 minutes again.
Sorry, I felt like I heard a different name there, and I was like, I don't even think that guy's healthy.
What do you think I said?
Did you say Derek White?
Yeah, I said because Derek White is out.
Oh, okay. See, that's what got me. I was looking at chat.
Okay. God, that's cool. I do it all the time.
I know. Speaking, hold on. I got to pause you here. We're going back to yesterday's deeper dive. I didn't say anything because you guys were up against the time crunch at the end. How bad do I butcher Bogdanovich's name, and what do I do wrong?
Say his first name.
Bojan?
Bojan. I love it.
No?
I mean, hey, maybe I'm the one that's been getting it wrong this whole. It's Bojan though. Okay. Bojan Bogdanovic. Okay. Look, you didn't. It's not a hardcore butcher, but I was just going through names that all of us mess up, and that's the one that sticks in my craw. By the way,
Bojan. Okay, I can do that. I can handle that. Yeah, then that's the first time it's been addressed. I was just like, what the fuck?
Better than Antetokounmpo.
Yeah. I'm in the ballpark.
By the way,
Bojan. Got it.
To say that everybody got Arcidiacono wrong, you're full of it, fellas, and you know it.
Yeah.
Not this guy. I can't pronounce my co-host name, but I can get Ryan Arcidiacono. All right.
Yeah, that one wasn't rough for me, but that's just because I have ties to Villanova.
Yeah, exactly. So do I. That's exactly why. Now, Adam, on the other hand, with Arcidiacono was bad. Yeah. He would say it really quietly, right? So you couldn't. He'd be like, yeah, and then Ryan Arcidiacono is a pretty solid play here. Yeah, that's what you get.
Yeah, if he didn't go to Villanova, and if I lived in Kansas, then I'd probably whiff on that shit.
100%. 100%, but you heard it so often when you were watching Nova, and that's how I knew it as well.
Right. I only want Aldridge with any sort of volume. If I have any DeRozan or Forbes or Bertans, that's fine. But this game is not an appealing fantasy game for me.
As you would say, trace amounts.
Yes. All right, let's get out of this game here. The New Orleans Pelicans hosting the Orlando Magic. 114.5 implied total for the Pels. 110 for the Magic. Oh, this Pels team. 12.5 for AD on FanDuel. 10.3 on DraftKings. $57 on Yahoo. How are you handling Anthony Davis?
With kid gloves?
Yeah. As if he wasn't being held with kid gloves prior to this, too. That's
I know.
The craziest part.
I'm not going to lie. I love that the league is like, yo, you're not sitting this guy. He gets hurt, it's on you.
I have
You
a
couldn't
big
trade
problem
him.
with it.
I think it's hilarious.
I have a really big problem with it. Where were they this entire season when the Rockets put Carmelo Anthony on ice? They don't make a fucking peep.
Well, Carmelo Anthony does not sell tickets.
I mean,
Do not.
it's not as if he is not a name
Josh,
value player in the league right now. Come on now.
This is not the dark alley you want to travel down by yourself at night. Okay? Carmelo Anthony does not put does not put asses in the seats in 2018. Come on.
Now, look, he puts them in there more than Gary Clark does.
Well, yeah, of course he does, but it doesn't make. I look. Yes, could you make an argument that like, oh, Melo's on the Rockets? That's cool. He's a recognizable name. Yeah, okay, but to the extent that he influences the quality of the product you're putting on the floor compared to Anthony Davis, there is no comparison. Actually,
he does. He negatively
makes it worse
so much. Yeah,
he makes it worse.
He negatively impacts the quality of the product more than Anthony Davis positively impacts.
Right. You got the league calling up the Rockets front office like, listen, you are not allowed to play Carmelo Anthony when he's healthy because you're destroying this team.
Yeah.
The truth is, you can't. I don't think you could compare the two. I don't think Daryl Morey was getting calls about Carmelo Anthony. The big thing here is I agree that if you wanted, like, it should be consistent across the board. If that's what you're saying, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I also look, I try at times, to be a man of the people, and
Chandler Parsons too.
Yeah,
like apparently back now.
There's no better thief in the NBA than Chandler Parsons. Do we agree?
I don't know. John Wall's going to make a real good case in the next couple of years.
Yeah, you keep falling down flights of steps, man. Become a billionaire over time. With Anthony Davis, like, we know that he's healthy, and now he's just going to sit out because he doesn't want to play. To me, whatever your problems are with the organization and with the front office, I don't think it's fair to fans that keep this in mind. Like, and you can disagree with me. The viewers can disagree with me. That's fine. But there are a lot of people that, like, if he gets hurt a game and he can't play, or you were to sit him out to rest him a game, whatever. But like, there are people that don't have tickets to basketball games cost a lot of money, to the average, working class person. You buy tickets, for you and your family, or you and your kid or something, and you get to go once a year. And Anthony Davis isn't playing because he's hurt, but he's just not playing because, they don't want to play him, and he doesn't want to play for that team, even though it's his job. I just think it does the fan base dirty. You got season ticket holders paying a lot of money to watch a team, and they're paying for a product that you advertise at the beginning of the season. So if he's not hurt, how is that fair to your fan base, to your audience that's paying money? They're subsidizing your product to say, no, he's not going to play. We subsidize what they do, right? We do. If we're not paying to watch these games for merchandise, if we're not buying tickets to watch these games, there is no NBA, right? That's why the WNBA is about to fold. Mm-hmm. So that's my rant. Sorry, I had to mention that because it bothers me.
No, I get it. I don't care about the family going to a game once a year.
I do. I care about the fan base. I don't care what team it is.
Well, they'd be better off just moving that entire fan base to Seattle, but that's neither here nor there. It's just a tricky situation because it's in Anthony Davis's best interest to not play. It's in the New Orleans Pelicans' best interest to not play him. But the company isn't the Pelicans, it's the NBA. And they have...
Correct.
And it's the same reason that the Colangelos are in Philadelphia, or at least were in Philadelphia. If the Sixers were able to run their team with their own autonomy and have no input from the league, then Sam Hinkie's probably still the general manager of the team.
No, he's definitely still the general manager. Could you imagine, Josh? Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. I just wanted, like, we see some of these issues, but ultimately, the league has a job of putting the product of the NBA ahead of an individual team, and it creates this sort of weird gray area where Anthony Davis sitting out is not great for the NBA, even though it's good for him and his team. And we've never had to deal with this issue before.
No, and you should be putting your product. You should be putting your product ahead of him.
Yeah.
Imagine you work for Awesemo.com, and you're like, man, I'm tired of it here. I'm not going to work until I'm not going to work until I find a new job. But you're going to continue to pay me, and you guys, as the subscribers, are going to continue to pay money for what was advertised as my work.
Yeah.
That doesn't go over well anywhere else. If you were to apply this situation to another real life scenario in terms of somebody getting compensated for their work and just deciding that they're not going to do the work, and the organization, see, I guess that's where it's a bit different, because the Pelicans organization is, in agreement because they see their future being hindered by it as well. But to me, it just doesn't work, Josh. I don't like it. I don't like it. Like, I get that if he gets hurt, it's a big issue, but maybe you should have handled the situation better before.
Yeah, I mean, look, the real key to this is that Anthony Davis probably isn't a Pelican if there's not a weird quirk in the rules where the Celtics can't acquire him. He's probably on a different team now if the Celtics have the ability to trade for him. Not necessarily that he's on the Celtics, but that actually starts, like, the bidding war is able to happen.
Sure. Yeah.
Craziness, though. Do you want to play him here today?
I was trying to ramble so I didn't have to answer that. No, I'm kidding.
What kind of?
So it's so ridiculous that he plays 25 minutes on the first end of a back-to-back and then 34 on the second leg of a back-to-back, right? I don't know what to make of it. Like, I really don't know what to make of this. The honest question is, does anybody?
No.
Because if he plays 25 minutes, would you be shocked? No. If he played 34, would you be shocked? No.
I put him in for 32 just as a reference point.
Is that what you have him in for?
Number. Yeah.
Right. I have him in for.
Dude, they can give him the Keith Bogans. They can put him out there for 6 minutes to start this game and tell him to go take a shower after that shit, and I wouldn't be shocked.
Yep. So
I mean, that's what I would be doing. I would play him the minimum amount to shut the league up.
Right, pretty much.
Because you need him to be healthy on July 1st.
Imagine that, though, like, as a fan, you're not only would you play him for 6 minutes and just, give the middle finger to everybody, but it's like, not only is he only playing 6 minutes to finish out the year, but then he's gone after this year and we're left rebuilding again. It's crazy. But the Orlando Magic defensively have been actually very solid since the turn of the new year.
Yeah.
They have
really good.
Yeah. Top 5 defensive rating. They're also playing at a bottom 10 pace over that span. And I think those are a few things to keep in mind when considering Davis. This isn't to say that Davis can't just torment Vooch and company. That's not what I'm saying. But is it not, like, it's not Anthony Davis versus the Hawks. It's not a matchup where, like, man, even if he plays 25 minutes, and he could, but it doesn't feel like that absolute blow up spot. He's 10-3 on DraftKings. On FanDuel, he's 12. On 12.5, it's completely prohibitive. There's no way I'd pay 12.5. I do start thinking about it at 10-3 on DraftKings because
I'll have some.
If he plays 32 or 34 minutes at 10-3, it is very likely that Anthony Davis is going to, easily pay off that price point.
Especially on this slate where you don't have to pay up to anything in Memphis and in San Antonio.
Right.
The Sixers are a really difficult team to pinpoint in terms of their stars right now. They have a lot of talent, but it's a tricky balance from a DFS perspective. The Celtics don't have any high-end guys playing today. The
Golden
Warriors
State
have
playing
5
Utah.
in arguably the most difficult matchup they can get defensively.
Yep, totally agree.
So, like, getting to AD on a slate like this, if you think that he plays north of 30 minutes, I think is reasonable.
On DraftKings,
On
yes,
DraftKings.
For me, I'm just saying on FanDuel, I don't really have much interest in paying 12.5 for him.
Yeah, no, neither do I. It's not optimal for me. Having to start, 2 guys at the position makes it slightly more palatable.
Real bad power forward position.
Yeah. So
it's really bad.
I would never. I would prefer to go to. I would just rather have LeBron in that case than pay for Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of that's the direction for me. The only guy that I like on this team is Kenrich Williams.
It is crazy, man. I'll tell you. Last night, I was looking over the numbers and I was looking over the initial projection for him, and like I had to lower his minutes just to get him down a bit. It like if you look at Kenrich Williams, and you see that he's played 37 in each of the 2 games that Anthony Davis has been back. Oh my God, really? Like more minutes than he was playing before Davis went out. If you take his per minute production since he started getting big minutes, so the 29th of February, he played 30 minutes or more in all of those. I think he's at like 0.92 fantasy points per minute or something. Even if you took his per minute numbers from the season, right? Even if you just took his per minute numbers on the season, which is 13.2 DraftKings points across 15.5 minutes per game, 0.85 fantasy points, and project him for 35 minutes, you're still getting him at 30 fantasy points at $4,900 on DraftKings.
I've got him at 0.75 per minute for this game, and he's still like one of the 5 best values I can find.
There you go.
I can't be much more pessimistic than that.
No, 0.75 is low.
Yeah.
I don't even think I can put him there because of how well he's just all over the court.
Yeah.
But even if you did I'm assuming you haven't projected at 37 minutes then. Or
no, 34.
Minutes. So you have him at 25.5 fantasy points, and he's coming up as
26 fantasy points on the nose on DK, and he is. Where is he hiding here? Why can I not see his name? Am I just blind to it? And he would be my 9th ranked guy just overall.
I haven't projected at 31.5 fantasy points.
I fucking have him in 140% of my lineups.
Crazy. 140%. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. And like, no matter how you cut it, it's really tough. I think I have him here at 0.85 fantasy points per minute or whatever it was that I just mentioned.
Yeah.
And I have him at 36 minutes. I think actually I have him at like 30.6 fantasy points. But yeah, I do. I just look. But that's still at that at 4,900. It's crazy that he's that cheap.
It's insanity. Like, I don't even hate him at 6,400 on FanDuel just because of the minutes he's playing. I'm less interested for sure, but
not crazy. But on on DraftKings, it's just
no brainer. Yeah. One of the better plays of the day.
And like, you're projecting him at minutes that he hasn't played. Like, you're projecting him lower than you actually believe he's going to play, because if you project him at 37, things get out of hand.
Yeah, like, there's upside in minutes and there's upside in his per minute production, and I still can't stop getting him. I don't need to crank the dial much any further than that.
For sure. Yep.
Any little bit of Randall or Holiday that comes up, I think, is fine, but they're not priorities at their price points.
I don't have either of them as priorities at all, actually. I don't hate either of them, but
I do have a monster priority on the opposite side of this game.
Oh, by the way, Randall 74 on DraftKings, having dropped $700 overnight. That I'm not opposed to that. You'll definitely be going back and forth on him and John Collins. I know that much, but there's very much an argument to be made that Randall is a better play than John Collins. I did in my initial crunch get more Collins than Randall. but I still have to adjust some things. So I got 12% Randall initially. That actually at 7,400 seems a little bit low if he's going to play 31, 32 minutes. So just wanted to get that out there.
9,900 on FanDuel, 9,500 on DraftKings, $42 on Yahoo, particularly on FanDuel. How great does Vooch look today?
Yeah, really, really nice spot for Vooch. Really nice spot. He's something I've been talking about a lot recently was when Vooch is getting extended minutes. And by extended, I mean instead of 30 to 32, playing 34 to 35 or 33 to 35. That might not seem like a lot of additional minutes, but I can assure you it is for somebody that's, averaging almost 1.5 fantasy points per minute. So to me, that makes a big difference. Now, I will say, okay, last game, Vooch only played, 3 minutes in the fourth quarter. Normally, if that game is close, he gets up to 33, 34 minutes again against Milwaukee. That game wasn't even, that was an ugly, ugly game. Giannis sat in that one, and Vooch, looking at his minutes here, he played, 1 minute and 56 seconds. So he comes in halfway through, plays a minute, and then it was over, right? So there was no point to even keep him in that game. So that was 5 minutes he lost there, which I would have liked to have seen a few more, but you get the point. This game I expect to be close. I'm putting Vooch up to 34 minutes again. I expect to see him get plenty of run here.
Yep, I got him in for 34. He's my favorite play of the day on FanDuel, and he is 7th on DK. Can't get enough.
I'm about it.
I like Aaron Gordon too. 7,100 on FanDuel, 6,400 on DK, 26 on Yahoo. Gonna have a bunch of him as well.
Yeah, Aaron Gordon, 60. That he's very affordable. Aaron Gordon is the type of guy though that when I get him, I'm not actively trying to get less of him. But I don't love him. Right now, I got 29% on DraftKings, which worries me a little bit. Not gonna lie, but he is discounted enough in a good spot that I'm really not that concerned. The only thing I would say is, and who would have thought? But the only thing I would say is, with Kenrich Williams and Randall and Davis all playing, this team does become more difficult to rebound against with all of these guys healthy. So not something that's going to scare me away, of course, but I'm just throwing it out there now that Davis is back. It is something that could be a little bit concerning. Although in those 2 games since Davis is back, looking at it, teams have rebounded perfectly fine against them. So Gordon at that price is fine.
I love our YouTube chat. These guys love everyone. Yeah, they'll always love everyone. We basically hated the entire Grizzlies Spurs game. I like 1 guy on the Pelicans and 2 guys on Orlando.
Yeah, that's kind of strange that statement would be made because, yeah, who do we,
I said the only guy that I like on the Pelicans is Kenrich Williams.
I said I like Randall too, but that's 2 players. It's a 5-game slate.
Vooch and Aaron Gordon are the 2 guys that I like on Orlando. That's it. Actually,
I've always prided myself on not giving every play from every game because it does nobody any favors. It really doesn't. If you're just saying, oh yeah, he's a good tournament play, he's a good play. Oh yeah, I could see that being a good play. It doesn't help anybody out. But outside of the Lakers Atlanta game where pretty much everyone is in play, I didn't whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But I love Evan Fournier and Terrence Ross, I gotta say, and I think DJ Augustine's probably a top option as well.
And Kem Birch and Wes Iwundu and Isaiah Briscoe. Yeah. Now, Vooch and Gordon will be the guys that get exposure for me. There are a lot of guys in this game that are getting double digits in projected ownership that I don't like. So there's only 5 games on the slate, just in case anybody's curious. Yep. And Terrence I already don't like a bunch of these dudes.
Ross is getting to a price where it's a little bit prohibitive now.
Yeah.
The dude the dude has some big games. Like, what did he score 25 points in the first half the other day? He's been a massive spark for them off the bench, and they've won 3 straight games against Minnesota, Milwaukee, and Atlanta. The 5 of their last 6. It'd be Indiana and Brooklyn too. They're playing really well right now. So I like this to be a close game. And Gordon at 6,400, Vooch as you already pointed out, the front court there, and then Kenrich Williams for New Orleans. Maybe sprinkle some Davis in on DraftKings, but I don't see myself getting to any of the wings. This is a game where the front courts and not the wing players or the guards are the ones that appeal to me most.
I agree. All righty, moving on. This one's for you. Philadelphia 76ers hosting the Boston Celtics. 116 implied total for the Sixers, 110.5 for the Celtics. We've got a 4-man band here in Philadelphia, so I'm going to toss it to you. Let me know what you like, and I'm going to use the restroom.
You do it, fella.
I had two coffees and like 30 ounces of Gatorade. I'm dying.
All right, well, I wasn't sure if you were firing one off or you were just
no. I'll be gone for 30 seconds.
Wasn't sure how long you needed me to rant for here. I can go as long as needed, but
I'll be back.
Do your thing. See, if you had AirPods, you could hear everything I said while you were peeing, and then you could come back. But I'm assuming he's not even there right now. Nope, he gone. So if you pull up the Sixers since Tobias Harris came along, and take a look at what the usage has looked like, how they've distributed this, then it starts to come into focus a little bit. And the truth is that you don't necessarily have one player that's going to carry the load. The first game against Denver, it was JJ Redick, who dropped 34 points, had a monster game, 11 for 15 shooting, 6 for 7 from long range, 34 points. Next game, 8 for 13, 21 points. So that's a perfectly strong game from Redick. Whereas you get a Tobias Harris, and Tobias Harris shoots 6 for 12 in his first game with 14 points, then 9 for 14 in his second game with 22 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. The production is going to be mixed up. It's very similar to the Warriors, and get it out of your head that I'm saying that the talent level. I'm not talking about talent level. What I'm talking about is unpredictability. And I had this discussion with somebody on Twitter yesterday. Like, with the Warriors, aside from Curry each night, who you feel pretty confident about no matter what happens, not to say he's going to drop 60 every night, but pretty confident that he'll have a decent game. It's roulette with is it going to be Thompson, like Redick, your poor man's Thompson, did against Denver? Is it going to be Butler? Is it going to be Harris? Outside of Embiid, you really don't know where it's going to come from. So here are your usage rates through 2 games, Josh.
I am here, Tobias.
Yeah, I heard you're making a racket. I can always tell when you're coming back.
Okay.
It sounds like you're a hoarder and you're walking through like all of your saved up artifacts that lay strewn across your room. Joel Embiid, 32.7% usage rate. Redick, 24.1%. And I have a point. So Ben Simmons, 23%. Tobias Harris, 17.8%. Butler, 17.4%. Okay, what does this mean? It means that through 2 games, we don't know a damn thing because JJ Redick got really hot and skewed it all. Redick could definitely, I expect Redick to have around 21-22% usage. You really don't know, Josh. You have no idea. But what I can say is, on the regular, if you were to average this out, prorate this across an 82-game season, Harris and Butler have the lowest usage. Harris is the most efficient, and along with maybe Ben Simmons. And Joel Embiid is entirely unaffected and continues to get as much work as he wants, but it makes it very difficult.
These guys are tricky now, man.
Well, even when Butler came over, it made him tricky. Now it's even worse.
Yeah,
they have 5 guys on this team that can, in the starting lineup, all of whom can produce in various ways. So while Redick isn't stealing assists or rebounds, he's certainly getting shots up every night.
Is there anybody you want to play from the Sixers at any sort of volume? Is there someone that stands out to you?
Honestly, not really, no. Uh, like Tobias Harris, for example. Doc Rivers figured him out. Like he he opened the door to like legitimate NBA success for Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris was a decent player before that, but Doc Rivers figured out that he would use him as a pick and roll ball handler. Uh, Actually, he had the third highest pick and roll frequency as of any forwards in the league this year as the ball handler. Right? The Sixers have the lowest pick and roll frequency in the league. So what's that tell us? Well, it tells us that, first of all, it's not easy to run a pick and roll with Ben Simmons when you can't shoot.
I like that he shot a three, though. That was hot.
He did. Dude, they're feeling it right now.
Did you see the interview with Embiid and Redick?
No.
They asked him. It was Embiid and Redick like at the press conference table, and they asked him if they were surprised when he shot it. And Redick was like, "No, I wasn't surprised. Like, I know he's been working on it." And Embiid just like side eyes him and smiles. He's just like, "What?"
Yeah, he is the greatest character, man. He's so great. It's great, but anyway, they don't run the pick and roll frequently at all. You'll see Butler and Embiid run it once in a while. Maybe once you integrate Harris a little more, you'll see him run it a bit. But no, they don't. So what we know is that he's going to play off the ball a lot. He's going to create more spacing, and we've seen it work wonders for them. Like the biggest problem with the Sixers is closing out games. They closed out Denver with relative ease, and they beat up on the Lakers and put a lot of distance between them because Harris can knock down those threes. Man, it makes a huge difference. It makes such a big difference. So I think Harris really makes this team a lot better. He's a 44% three-point shooter, and it's not like he doesn't shoot them with volume, but it doesn't make it any easier to predict this team. And now you can have two or three of these guys on the court at all times, so we can't even say, oh, yeah, well, so-and-so is going to get a lot of minutes with him off the court. Well, he's still going to have this guy and this guy on the court, Josh. It really makes it difficult.
It really does. Embiid, Simmons, and Butler are the guys that stand out most for me. I have no confidence in any of the guys. It's a really scary situation. Someone will pop. I don't know who that is. But I'd have a hard... tough matchup, to be sure. I have a hard time wanting to go to anybody crazily. 21, 22, 18%. That's the expected ownership for Embiid, Simmons, and Butler. That all makes perfect sense to me.
Mm-hmm. 22. Wait, read them again. I'm sorry.
21, 22, 18. Embiid, Simmons, Butler. That's the expected ownership. So basically, 20% across those three guys.
Yep.
Embiid only at 8% on FanDuel, which I think is really interesting. Simmons at 25, Butler at 14. That's a little bit to let you know how the position looks on FanDuel today, but just at that rate alone, I would want to get to a little bit more Embiid and probably a little bit less Simmons.
Yeah, I would think so too.
And then for me, I'll have a hard time ever getting to JJ Redick here. He's going to be exactly like Klay Thompson in that I generally don't want him, and there's going to be one game every 10 where I regret it.
Yeah. Redick is going to continue to shoot. Like he's still going to.
Yeah, and they should want him to.
For sure. But when he's not efficient, it's going to turn ugly quick.
Oh.
Right? Like, yeah, he shot 11 for 13 the other day, 3 for 6 from beyond the arc, and he had 5 assists and 2 steals. 8 for 13 shooting mitigates the fact that 13 shots is not a lot when you only, when you have a bad game and you only hit 5 of them. And I think he's going to be a tough guy to predict. Potential assists since the trade, 13 averaged per game from Simmons. So he's still, Ben Simmons is still going to get the work. Butler 6, Harris 6, Redick and McConnell 5. And then I did want to look at touches. If you watch these games, like Butler really does not. Butler is not touching the ball very often. Like he is it's so strange to just see him like following up on shots around the basket, waiting for offensive rebounds as a way to touch the basketball. He'll run the point for a minute or two when Ben Simmons is off, but man, it is strange. So touches over those two games: Embiid at 78, Simmons at 69, Harris at 55, Redick at 46, Butler at 41. That's important to me, Josh, because you don't have one guy on this team that's like 88, 90 touches per game. And that is what Simmons looked like before these guys came along. Now you're talking about an average of around 70. They're all and time of possession outside of Ben Simmons. The ball's just moving around so much that it's tough. And I think the way you approach these guys going forward is you take the discounts and you move on and hope that they're cheap enough to make it work.
You've got 4 big guys here now: Embiid, Simmons, Butler, Harris. Let's say that you knew you could max 3 of them and had to let one walk in this offseason. Who would you let walk?
Probably Butler. I think Harris fits the team a little bit better, but
that's what I figured.
Yeah, probably Butler. But as a starting unit, they look really good.
Yeah. Do you think that both Butler and Harris are Sixers to start the season next year?
I don't know. One of them 100%.
Sure.
Yeah.
They're not losing both of them.
No, they won't lose both. But both of them, I don't know.
Do you want them? Hard to say now. I guess it depends on.
I was going to say, let's see what happens. You know, do they continue to gel? Do they continue to get better?
Let's say they lose in 6 to the Raptors in the conference finals.
If they lose back? Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad bet. If you lose in 6 or 6 or 7 in the conference finals, it's really hard to say that you're like far away from where you need to be. And I'm not talking about unattainable goals like being as good as the Warriors.
Let's say they lose in the second round to the Raptors in 7.
There's also the argument to be made that you would think that Simmons and Embiid will only get better after another season. And more.
That would have been the reason that I didn't make those trades, or at least the Butler trade.
But again, it goes back to what I was saying. You only have so big of a window. Like you don't. Ben Simmons, who knows? He might go out west. Like he totally seems like the type of guy that wants to be out west with whatever the Jenner name is. Yeah, I don't know. Embiid, I don't worry about it.
Caitlin, but by the way.
Funny. But
right? That's the one you were thinking about?
That was the one I was thinking of, yeah.
Figured as much.
You get what I'm saying. You got to go for it now. And no, I don't fault Elton Brand for it at all, because otherwise you'll end up like so many teams, like the Hawks, who were stuck in NBA purgatory for years and never went anywhere.
Yeah.
What are you doing with the Celtics?
Not caring all that much, depending on.
You're 6,900 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I don't really need him. I like Jaylen Brown for 5,200 quite a bit on FanDuel. I like him for 51 on DK, but I really like him on FanDuel. Marcus Morris looks okay. Marcus Smart looks okay. Nobody really stands out for me though. This is a rotate everybody through game.
Sure. I think Smart gets a ton of run in this game where you're going to need his defense.
Yeah.
Like I think Smart gets a lot of work in this game.
You would think.
But that's really just hoping that he can rack up the defensive stats. By the way, Tyson Chandler's questionable. And if he happens to sit, JaVale McGee gets even more interesting.
Yeah, he'd solidify his minutes, get a couple extras.
It would just me be feeling a little bit more comfortable about him not losing.
Yeah.
Or not playing less than like 26 minutes.
Yeah, they'd play a little bit more Kuzma at the 5, and Mo Wagner will probably get a couple.
Wagner.
Mo Wagner.
Yes, Moritz Wagner.
I mean, to be fair, it's Wagner.
I know that's tough. Like, unless you're watching him play and you're listening to his name broadcast, that's a tough one.
There's no way to know the pronunciation of someone being from having a different country's pronunciation of that name.
Well, Basketball Reference tells you, but
sure, but
unless you look it up,
you have to know to look that up to ever know that you're wrong.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
What a tougher.
Yeah.
He looks like a little child in a huge body, by the way.
He is in a huge body for sure. Jeez. Mo Wagner. Fire him
I
up.
think
Who do you like the most from Boston today?
Yeah, that's where I was going to go with this. We talked about power forward being ugly on. Okay. Muscala and Chandler didn't participate in shootout. Power forward is pretty bad on FanDuel. You could pay like 72 for Tatum. Granted, I like Randall and Collins too, and Aldridge is fine. But once you get down a little bit, I guess it's not a terrible position. We've seen worse. But Marcus Morris at 5,100.
Yeah.
We've seen him produce really nicely with Kyrie Irving off the floor. Not a huge fan because his ceiling's really not significant, but Marcus Morris here at a very reasonable salary is fine. 2 very solid games against the Sixers this year as well. He's produced against them. Not that really means much.
Marcus Morris at 23% ownership on FanDuel right now. Chalkiest play of the entire Boston Celtics team.
It doesn't surprise me just because of the scarcity at the position.
Yeah.
Or,
He's been really good without Kyrie in.
What do you make of, before we move on from this team, what do you make of old Gordon Hayward?
I like him.
Godspeed, sir.
He's been better with Kyrie out. That's all I can say. Look, it's not like I think that I'm going to have 50% of him. I'll probably be over the field. He has been a different player when Kyrie's not on the floor.
He's actually been a player.
Yes, that's a good way to say it.
God, what a terrible player he's been with Irving healthy.
Yeah, I don't see anybody on Boston as a priority.
No, but I do think, like, say you're playing 150 lineups, you're going to end up with a good amount of Celtics.
Yeah.
I just don't see how you don't. But it does, right? But not priorities. With that, I agree.
Yeah.
Who do you think leads this team in usage with Irving off the court this year?
Jaylen Brown.
Off the top of your head. Yep. Jaylen Brown at 24.8%. Marcus Morris at 24.6%. Jason Tatum at 24%. This is exactly why you said none of these are priorities and why I said you're going to have a decent amount of them, because they're all very similar here. Hayward at 21%, Horford at 19%. But then when you look at per minute production on DraftKings, Horford 1.1, Morris 1.1, Hayward 1.01, Rozier 1.00, Brown 0.97, Tatum 0.95, Smart 0.90.
It's just it's 7 different dudes with the exact same production.
But no, I think, look, Hayward's fine here.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you this now. If it's like, now that he's small forward, power forward, I will pay the extra $300 on DraftKings to get to Marcus Morris, because I just don't think getting to Hayward there is like, I don't see the benefit. If you want to do it, perfectly fine by me. I would expect ownership to be, well, what is Hayward, 7% on DraftKings right now? And Marcus
if we
Morris,
updated, I had 8, but we might have had a second update.
Okay. I have Morris at 14. So you're going to see probably double the ownership. So that would be your one reason to go Hayward over Morris.
I don't even need that reason. He's just better.
Man, when it comes down to it, it's very possible that Hayward goes for 40 and Morris goes for 27. So, do what you have to do. I wish this game wasn't on the slate. That's my honest answer is I wish I didn't have to talk about this game, because one team you're going to have a bunch because they're all cheap and Irving's out. The other team, you have no idea what to do because there's 5 good players in the starting lineup.
God, 7 different dudes on Boston to rotate through.
Yep.
Apparently, we're getting just lambasted for not mentioning that Tatum. So
I mentioned Tatum
as a downright lock. We get yelled at when we recommend too many people. We get yelled at when we don't. I don't know how to recommend anybody anymore.
Awesome.
I'm not that big of a fan. What do you want me to do? He looks a lot like the other 6 dudes on this team today.
Hey, I definitely mentioned him. I'd said I'll take the $2,100 savings on Morris on FanDuel.
Yeah.
Oh, I mentioned him. All right.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I prefer Marcus Morris. I prefer Jaylen Brown. I prefer Al Horford. And when push comes to shove, I probably prefer Gordon Hayward.
Look, it's something we talk about quite often. Sometimes, Josh, we can only go with the numbers that we have that are available to us, right? Like we can't just start fabricating shit because it fits our theories.
Sure, we
Like
can.
we can't. Yeah, well, we can, but it wouldn't help anybody. Yeah, well, Tatum against the Sixers in the postseason last year, that will transfer to this year because why wouldn't it? It doesn't really work like that. Or Tatum has been really good in 2 games against the Sixers this year. That is true. And if you want to use that, be my guest. Totally different Sixers team, but still fine. But we can't ignore that Jason Tatum with Kyrie Irving off has been pedestrian. 0.95 fantasy points per minute, 24% usage, which is fine. 9% assist rate. Rebounding rate sits at 9%. I mean, he's fine. I have no issues with him. I would much prefer him on DraftKings, but nobody on Boston's a priority. These are guys that will be mixed in and out of lineups, and it's I just don't see how I'm like locking in Jason Tatum tonight. That's all.
Completely agree. Ready to close this out? We're at an hour 40 through 4 games.
And I'll ask you a question from Dante. How many of the Celtics are you running at once? So, like, how many do you feel comfortable with in a lineup?
3.
Yeah, even that seems excessive, but the alternatives aren't.
Yeah, and like I probably don't build a single entry lineup with 3 Celtics in this case, but I wouldn't have an issue with 3. I mean, and
right,
it's because they're cheap. Like, I don't really care for Rozier, so it's 3 guys at 6,300 or less. It's an easy sell.
Yep. No,
you tell
agree.
me
By
like
the way,
Horford, Jaylen Brown, and Gordon Hayward. Nothing's stopping you from going and getting each guy to hit a target.
Right. By the way, before we move on, did you see the Lakers defense, the C's part for Embiid 3 times last game where he would drive down from like half court and literally all of the defenders step out of the way and clear the paint if you guys haven't seen it, you have to watch it. It is some of the most unbelievable defense in quotes that I've ever seen in my life. Like even he was surprised. I've never seen anything like it, Josh. It's just, and it happened 3 times in a game. It wasn't just one miscommunication. It happened 3 times in a half.
I didn't see it. Sorry, I'm too busy fucking with chat and letting them know that I think DeMar DeRozan is better than Michael Jordan.
You sure know how to endear yourself.
I know. Let's close this shit out. Golden State Warriors hosting the Utah Jazz. 118.75 implied total for the Warriors. 110.25 for the Jazz. Very, very difficult matchup on both sides. Over the last 15 games, the Warriors have the best fantasy defense. The Jazz are 3rd. That is limiting points per possession. Start on the Warriors side. Durant, Curry, Cousins, Green, Clay. Those are the names that matter the most, in my opinion. Klay Thompson's 6,100 on DK. I don't normally end up with a lot of Clay, but today feels like a Clay day.
Yeah, they're very, very affordable. I think you're probably going to disagree with me here, but I'm actually not totally opposed to playing DeMarcus Cousins either.
He is by far my favorite Warrior.
Yeah.
By like double.
Yeah. What sucks though, right now he is by far the highest projected owned player on DraftKings.
Yeah, on DraftKings right now, Cousins grades out as my 3rd best play.
Yeah, and the thing too is it's like I only have him projected for 27 minutes, and
I have 26.
He might play 26. 27 might. I mean, 26, 27. It's going to be somewhere around there, barring any foul trouble or whatever, or an ejection or fight. 27 minutes for DeMarcus Cousins. Even if you were to take that, Like, his per minute numbers on this season are insane, Josh.
Yep.
Like, they're insane. He's still averaging 1.42 fantasy points per minute on the year. And you know what? I'm not inclined to say that I expect that to change anytime soon. If he's going to be playing 26, 27 minutes per game, when you're playing less minutes, there's like you're going to see a ton of involvement, and not only that, like these he when he's out there, he's involved. Put it that way. Whether he's rebounding, blocking shots, his defense, believe it or not, like I don't know if you see, like getting his hand in passing lanes, diving for balls.
I mean, just say he tried. Just say he tried. That's all we need to say about Cousins. He's actually trying.
He's actually trying. Yeah, fair enough. I think I like that. When he tries, oh my! I mean, he's my favorite basketball player in the league. Just so you know,
I love him.
But yeah, like over Embiid, it's him and then Embiid, and I'm a Sixers guy. He's my favorite player. Always has been. Well, since he came into the league, of course. I like to say he's misunderstood, but 6,200, he is going to be popular, which means that that means we have to at least adjust how we look at him.
Mm-hmm.
But 27 minutes for DeMarcus Cousins, you're talking like 37, 38, 39 fantasy points for a guy that's, and that's on average what you would expect from him here. What do you have him projected for fantasy points?
35.8.
35.8. I have him even higher than that.
Yeah, I tend to skew lower than everybody else, just for like across the board.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
But I mean, he's great. Like I said, he's grading out as my third best option today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just in here. Now, the 37% projected ownership gives me pause. I will look to find comparable players around that mark to get off of it.
Right.
Who do we got around him? I mean, Draymond, Jaren Jackson, Horford. Not that I love these guys, but it's really easy to offload some of the DeMarcus Cousins ownership to other centers in that price range,
right?
And not be like, and it not be crazy.
So, Cousins' power forward eligibility is gone on DraftKings,
as it should be.
But that does make things a little bit different now. So
yeah, if Cousins' history against Gobert has been rough, let's see how different it looks when he's got Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson with him instead of whatever assholes were on the Kings.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just, it's night and day.
You were also paying $11,000 for him.
Yeah, yeah.
I get
it's different when he goes for 49. When he's 10-4 on DK against Gobert. It's a little bit different now when he's at 62.
And I know he's playing more. Yeah. I know he's playing more minutes.
Yeah.
Right. And higher usage, but he's still way cheaper.
Yeah. He's a bad matchup for Gobert too.
He's a bad matchup for anyone.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's fantastic. He's like the second best offensive center in basketball behind Jokic.
Yeah. No, stop it. I agreed with that because I was reading something.
I'm gonna isolate that audio just so I have it.
It's your birthday. I'll let you have it.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. After Cousins, I have a really difficult time picking anybody else. Like I like Durant, I like Curry, I like Klay. They all look really similar. Klay for 7,400 on FanDuel is not really appealing for me, but I'll get to Durant, I'll get to Curry, I'll get to Draymond. I mean, Draymond's probably my second favorite guy at 6K.
I'm just having a really tough time playing any Durant lately. Like not just today, but in general lately.
I get it.
Having a very, very difficult time getting there. By the way, I should have mentioned this. I totally slipped my mind. Ben Simmons is $7,800 on DraftKings. In those 2 games with Harris, you've seen like some brutal numbers. I wouldn't be surprised to see that change for the better to the upside. 3 for 13 shooting last game, and the rebounding has been down in each of his last 2 games. I have a tough time believing that Tobias Harris is the reason that Ben Simmons is, and I sorry to go backwards here, but I find it's an important point. I just have a tough time believing that the Tobias Harris, who has a 12% rebounding rate, which is fine, but nothing special, is the reason that Ben Simmons struggled to rebound so much. So 7,800 on Simmons, I forgot to mention. Now that's out of the way. The reason I brought it up is because even Kevin Durant, with his price coming down, I'm still like, all right, yeah, maybe I'll get 50 fantasy points from him. It's
Why did
maybe you
Cousins'
will.
price drop $600?
Utah.
I guess. I don't know why that matters to him, but
You're talking about on DraftKings, right?
yeah.
Yeah, the dynamic pricing that bakes the matchup into the price point is pretty extreme at times.
Yeah, center matchups against Utah aren't bad. That's the weird thing.
No, but it's just the team defense in general that lowers their price points from everything I've seen.
Yeah. He said Cousins will get into foul trouble. I'm on Looney. Not getting into foul trouble. He's playing his ass. He's going to use every one of his fouls. There's no foul trouble for DeMarcus Cousins.
Well, let me just say, predicting foul trouble is literally the worst thing that you can do. And you don't predict.
That matters to a guy that you want to play 36 minutes. It doesn't matter to a guy that you want to play 25.
But I'm saying you're predicting foul trouble is not an easy thing to do at all. I mean, yeah, Utah leads the league in drives per game, but they are also, you ready for this? Ready for this? They've also been fouled, so they lead the league in drives per game, and they have the lowest foul rate in the entire league on drives.
Yeah, crazy. I'm loving Boogie today. I hope his ownership goes down. Who else do you want from the Warriors? Anything?
I mean, if Stephen Curry's always in play because he's Stephen Curry.
Yeah. I like him better on FanDuel.
The Warriors and Sixers really do make this slate kind of difficult. Honest, they do. It makes it tough, especially if you're like single entering or 3 max entering. It's pretty tough to navigate this.
Do you care about anything on Utah? Because I don't really care. Donovan Mitchell for 8,300 on FanDuel, I guess. Otherwise,
yeah, Donnie Mitchell at 83 on DraftKings. I'm perfectly fine passing that up.
Same.
Yeah. Oh God. There's got to be something, right? Or there isn't. Joe Ingles, if he was a little bit less expensive, could be interesting. Just as a 3-point shooter, you're going to need that expertise today. It's still difficult to get there. I mean, I suppose you could look at Rubio, who's 5,800. Yeah, Rubio may not be the worst thing, but really, it's not more of like a tertiary play than even a secondary option. And Gobert, I have Gobert at 41 fantasy points here.
37.
Oh, then you're not getting any Rudy Gobert.
I will be under the field.
I have him at 41 and I still didn't get any.
How many minutes?
32.
Same.
Yeah. Which, actually, if you were to take his just season averages alone, just do like something real basic here, that would probably come out to right around where he's at on the year across 32 minutes. Yeah, 42.
Yeah, I'll probably a little light on him. I'll take a closer look. But
yes, that's it.
It's just hard. Actually, what I like everyone on the Jazz and the Warriors. Please play all of the people.
Just load up. Play nobody.
I feel like we've liked less people in this show than we've ever liked before.
I know, it's funny. It's funny. Because that statement was made before we got to the last 2 games where we don't like, well, not that we don't like anybody, but kind of particular about it, and it gets ugly real quick.
Yeah, it just so happens that the best game of the entire slate was first.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not
Yes,
close.
that is correct.
I think we're done.
Yeah, under 2 hours, as we always do.
Barely. We got 4 minutes and change.
Under 2 hours.
All
That's all that
righty.
matters.
Hit that like button. Comment after the video. Let's see. What did we talk about the people we're salty about? What can we make our comment be?
Oh, man. People are salty about everything. Oh, okay. No, I can't say that.
I don't know what it's going to be, but I probably agree.
Yeah. Oh, this one's on you. I gotta come up with something tonight.
Yeah. Okay. I like this one. So, hit the like button. Comment after this video is over. How many minutes do you think Anthony Davis plays tonight? Is it
I'll give him
20?
32.
Is it 36? Comment 1 to 10 how sensitive Josh is. That's fair. Yeah. I like
That's
it.
kind of funny, though.
It does. I got 11, 40. Thanks, guys. I don't know if you guys are doing minutes or how sensitive I am. So now it's kind of funny. But yeah, in the comment section, not the damn chat. This doesn't count. How many minutes do you think Anthony Davis plays? Like and comment, and you have a chance to win a free premium all access annual subscription for our 1-year anniversary. And NBA Strategy is the promo code if you just want to sign up, 50% off your first month with us. Adam will have the deep dive out, I don't know, late afternoon. Deeper dive starting at 5:30 tonight, half hour later, because we have a later start. So 5:30 to 6:30 for the deeper dive, 6:30 to 7:30 live before lock. Fast Eddie Fear and Chris Spags closing you out. And then we've got Ben and Tim breaking down the Genesis Open today at 2:30 p.m. So if you're looking to play some DFS golf, stop in for that show as well. Adios, everybody. We got to get in under the 2-hour mark. Best of luck. Bye.